Lewis Hamilton won his first race since 2021 and his 9th British Grand Prix, setting a most wins at a singular circuit record at the same time. But there was something off about it, and it wasn't just the fact he got so emotional, it was something else. It was the fact that Hamilton seemed to finally comprehend and understand what he had done just a couple of months ago, and that was signing a Ferrari contract, thus leaving the squad and company that meant everything to him for over 20 years. And at crossing the finish line and during media duties after the race, doubt crept in. Was it a good decision? Is Hamilton having doubts? Does he have any clause that could make him reconsider his decision? And are Mercedes finally back? They are continuing to bring upgrades, which we'll get into in a second, so they won't stop getting faster anytime soon. The return to the top step wasn't always easy, Hamilton acknowledged, to having days where I didn't feel like I was good enough during his Formula 1 win drought, which ended in dramatic fashion at the British Grand Prix. In a dry, wet, dry Silverstone race, as summer storms continued to impact the Grand Prix weekend, Hamilton took advantage of Mercedes' ability to make strategic moves, as McLaren failed to respond quickly enough to the end of the rain. Hamilton then maintained his soft tyres on to keep a fast-approaching Max Verstappen at bay, ending a 945-day win drought that began at the 2021 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Jeddah. Overwhelmed with emotion in the aftermath of his victory, Hamilton acknowledged he had days when he felt he would never win again in Formula 1 and thanked the Mercedes team for their support. But he also realised that Mercedes are back and, well, Ferrari aren't really. It's so tough, I think, for anyone, Hamilton said. But I think the important thing is just how you continue to get up in this, and you have got to continue to dig deep, even when you feel like you're at the bottom of the barrel. There's definitely been days between 2021 and now where I didn't feel like I was good enough, or where I was going to get back to where I am today. But the important thing is I have great people around me continuing to support me. My team, every time I turn up and see them put in the effort, that really encouraged me to do the same thing. Otherwise, my fans, when I see them around the world, they have been so supportive. So a big thank you to everybody back at the factory. Everyone here, I love you guys, and God bless you. Team principal Toto Wolff had already predicted that Hamilton would win his farewell race with Mercedes, a prediction that was confirmed by the race at Silverstone. The Austrian described it as a fairy tale and thought it fitting that Hamilton was able to win his 10th British Grand Prix with Mercedes. It was fantastic. I mean, you couldn't have written better for our farewell British Grand Prix after 12 years. That was great, Wolff said. Yeah, we had some more difficult times recently, and then coming back that way, faultless driving in the various conditions was really good. I really enjoy us bouncing back. We were 1 and 2 running for a long time in the dry, so performance-wise it looks like we are coming back. And the sign-off. I mean, it's like a fairy tale how we leave the British crowds there with the most iconic, most successful British driver in a Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton further talked about 2021 and his drought, stating that he is unsure whether Sunday's British Grand Prix victory will put it behind him and signal the end of his healing process. In 2021, Hamilton faced up against Max Verstappen for the world title, with the Mercedes driver winning the championship's penultimate race to tie on points. Losing the World Championship to Verstappen 1 race later at the season finale in Abu Dhabi was a painful experience for Hamilton, especially given the circumstances of leading for the majority of the race prior to a contentious ruling by then FIA race director Michael Massey. Hamilton is unsure whether Sunday's British Grand Prix would mark the next stage in the healing process, allowing him to go on. After all, in 2022 he believed he was over it, only to queue up on the grid and find he wasn't. I think only time will tell, he remarked of the significance of Sunday's victory in laying Abu Dhabi 2021 to rest. What I can say is that I'm not giving up. I feel like I'm making the right decisions with my life, with how I prepare and how I manage my time. The decision I've taken, for example, for next year. The commitment I still have to this team and the love that I still have for this team and the love that I still have for my job. I really, really love this job. And there's never going to be anything that comes close to it. And it's something I'm incredibly grateful for, to be in amongst these 20 drivers within this great sport that's having such a momentous time. I do hope. Honestly, when I came back in 2022, I thought that I was over it. And I know I wasn't, and it's taken a long time for sure to heal that kind of feeling. And that's only natural for anyone that has that experience. And I've just been continuing to try and work on myself and find that inner peace day by day. Hamilton won the British Grand Prix, setting a new record for the most victories at a single track with 9 at Silverstone. It was also his 150th podium finish as a Mercedes driver. He also increased his record for the most F1 Grand Prix victories to 104, 2.5 years after winning his 103rd. I think with the kind of the adversity I would say that we've gone through as a team, and that I personally felt that I've experienced those challenges, the constant challenge like we all have to get out of bed every day and give it our best shot, he said. There's so many times where you feel like your best shot is just not good enough. And the disappointment sometimes that you can feel, you know? And we live in a time where mental health is such a serious issue. I'm not going to lie that I have experienced that. And there's definitely been moments where, you know, the thought that this was it, that was never going to happen again. So, to have this feeling come across the line, I think, honestly, I've never cried coming from a win. It just came out of me, and it's a really, really great feeling. I'm very, very grateful for it. But as all these emotions came out of Hamilton, he surely would have thought twice about that signed Ferrari contract. Yes, it was his dream to drive in Scuderia Red, but he also dreams of winning an 8th championship, which seems more likely with Mercedes than Ferrari at this moment. And to make matters worse, well, not exactly worse, but more painful for Hamilton, Mercedes promises to build on the victory with additional Formula One upgrades in the coming weeks. Is there still time to fight for a championship in 2024? He will have to overcome a 145-point deficit in the upcoming 12 races. But F1 has seen crazier things. Diving into those upgrades, Mercedes will continue to bring out incremental modifications in Budapest and Spa following the development of its 2024 Formula One car, which won the British Grand Prix on merit and quality, showing their growth. Mercedes has won 2 races in a row after George Russell's triumph in Austria following an intense fight between Verstappen and Lando Norris. However, with Russell and Hamilton securing the first row at Silverstone, Mercedes won the race on merit at home, trailing the McLarens marginally in mixed weather race performance but outperforming them in race execution and in the dry. Mercedes saw it as a validation of their current upgrade trajectory after several false dawns, and team chief Toto Wolff promised the Brackley-based team will continue to deliver new parts to the 2 remaining races before the summer break. There's more to come in terms of performance, he said. We're bringing updates to Budapest and Spa. We mustn't get carried away. We had a win last week benefiting from Verstappen and Norris tangling, but today we have an honest win. We had the real pace. You could see George and Lewis in the lead. Almost under all conditions we were there. Wolff stated that Mercedes' development efforts finally clicked to give Hamilton in a position to end his record of home race podiums with a fairy tale win before moving to Ferrari in 2025. When you consider that 5 races ago we weren't even a contender for the podium, which looked like the 3rd year of non-performance, then it clicked, he said. Suddenly, everything that didn't make sense made sense. And the results of the development directions are back like in the old days. We are finding performance, we're putting it on the car, and it translates into lap time. That wasn't the case for the last 2 years. We couldn't give the drivers a car that enabled them to go for the victories. And to make Lewis win the British Grand Prix again in his last race for Mercedes here is almost like a little fairy tale. We couldn't have scripted it better. We justified that what we do is right at the moment. What do you think? Is Hamilton regretting signing for Ferrari? Especially now that it has finally clicked for Mercedes in recent months. And when looking at the stats, Hamilton gained 73 points over the last 6 races, whilst Sainz got 69 and Leclerc only 52, with Hamilton getting 55 of those points over the last 3 races. Now that's a revival if you ask me. So, will Hamilton moving to Ferrari turn out to be a bad decision? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.